Hey, I don't know how this is going to go over. I haven't checked in with the echo chamber over there on the football cognoscente. I do know that people are very in their feelings about Anthony Richardson getting benched midway through last season as he struggled through his second season as a professional quarterback with the Colts. Well, enter General Manager Chris Ballard, the unkillable executive of the Indianapolis Colts, who made it very clear that the days of Anthony Richardson being the unquestioned QB1 with the team are at an end.
Like when we drafted Anthony high, knowing it was going to take some time, all right? And we knew there's going to be some hiccups along the way. And it's I know we all want a finished product right now. I do. You do. Fans do. We all do. But I think as he continues to progress in his young career, us adding competition, I think will help up everybody's game. It'll be open. That's correct.
I think, if I'm reading this one right, that they absolutely intend for Anthony Richardson to be their week one quarterback. That's how I gauge it. That I think they probably still believe deep down he could be the dude for them. But they've now reached the point where there's enough doubt creeping into the room, both because of some of the struggles as a passer and also the struggles to stay healthy, that they have to have a plan B in a meaningful way. Do you see it that way, James?
Yeah, I find it very interesting. Like what you just said is like he's no longer the unquestioned starter. He wasn't the unquestioned starter last year. Like he hasn't had snaps, and the Colts, for some reason, refuse to continuously give him snaps. We look at all the guys that are being successful entering
for some reason
NFL career.
Oh, you're a Richardson truther too, Palmer, huh?
No. I'm going to say, listen, I've talked to enough people in the league. They think he just can't throw the football. Like literally cannot throw it. But if you're going to pick a guy that high, you got to at least go all in to see if he's the guy.
I agree.
And going back and forth on it. And a lot of this is Anthony Richardson's fault. Like what he said and had to go around that locker room and kind of, pulled himself out of a game last year. Like you look at like Jaden Daniels and Michael Penix and Bo Nix and all of these guys, they've played a ton of football coming into the league. Anthony Richardson has barely played football. So I don't get why you keep working in a manner where you don't have him play football. If you want to work that way, then just move on. I think that's what I would do. In the good teams in this league, they move on quicker than the teams that linger and try to decide.
But James, I don't see it as quite that black and white, where it's if you put him on the bench in year 2 because he's really struggling, he's not even completing 50% of his passes, that doesn't mean that you're like not committed to developing him. It means you're saying, man, right now he's in a tough spot. So we're going to go get this veteran that we picked up in the offseason, and we're going to try to reset him. It worked in Charlotte with Bryce Young, right? And now everybody's feeling great about him. But for some reason with Richardson, it was seen by many people as some type of abandonment of him as a prospect. I just think they're kind of a team, Sessy, in a tough spot where they did invest all this in him. They believe so much in him, but then there's mounting evidence that he might not be the guy. So they're kind of caught in this in-between, which is probably a very uncomfortable place for a GM and a head coach that knows they have to start winning soon or it's over.
Yeah, I think uncomfortable is the right word because, I mean, Anthony Richardson could use the offseason should be the time to really grow this quarterback. And like this is someone that is an atypical draft pick because I think the athleticism piqued everyone's interest, but so few college starts, such little college experience, and you come into suddenly having to deal with the NFL, and this is not a dress rehearsal. If you're Shane Steichen, like you don't have 7 years to figure this out, and like you start to and if you're Shane Steichen, you're thinking about the rest of your coaching staff, like you can't get this wrong. Like if he's not going to win you games, if he's going to falter and fumble and not figure out the NFL game, like you've got to find out. You've got to show who you are as a coach. So if this is an uncoachable player who can't develop, you've got to move on. I'm not saying that's where we're at with him, but it's like we don't just run an experiment here. This isn't 7th grade science class. Like you've got to figure out a winning quarterback situation and also the durability. Years in a row, the Colts have had to, under Shane Steichen, move on to different quarterbacks. And it's like, do you think Shane Steichen would like someone he could rely on for 17 games in a row? Yes.
Let me ask
Is
you
this
this,
the guy?
James.
I don't think so.
I would.
Let me just
say-
ask you a question, James. Let me just ask you a question. Do you think if the Colts, and I'm not saying I haven't heard this, but in a year where there's not a great draft class with quarterbacks and not a lot of great veteran options, what do you think the Colts could potentially fetch if they were to put Richardson on the block ahead of the draft?
Wow.
Do you think he would get a second-round pick, a third-round pick? Like, where do you think his value is across the league after 2 years?
There's enough people I've talked to in the league that just think he can't play. So then those teams are just out immediately. You're right, because of the landscape, could he fetch a little bit more? You're still getting the rookie contract. You're still getting enough people in this league that go, wait till I get my hands on him, because that's the way every head coach in the NFL thinks is, well, they're just not doing it right. Wait till I coach them. So there's going to be somebody, I think, that would take a flyer. I don't know if you're getting a second round pick. I don't know. I don't know if you are. I could see Russell Wilson landing there, by the way. I could see that being a spot.
Whoa.
But I would say real quick, and I understand the similarities between Carolina, but there's plenty of differences as well. Like Dave Canales did not draft Bryce Young. Shane Steichen handpicked Anthony Richardson. Big difference. And I think you guys would agree with me, the feel and the vibe of the way both situations were handled, very different by the organizations in which what we saw and what ended up happening. So it's been kind of a mess there. But I don't know I don't think he'd fetch a lot, because there's enough people I've talked to that just do not think he can play.